Welcome to my channel, How To Chris here. Thanks for joining me today. So today I'm going to show how to adjust this trip lever for the tub. So a lot of times they'll be leaking out down the drain. It won't be holding the water like it's supposed to. So especially when you go to change and put a new one in. For example, this wasn't holding well. So when I put in a new one, this wasn't staying up or down, so it wore out the spring in there. So I bought a new one of these for a few dollars. The trip lever assembly here. Just the cover plate, not the whole assembly. So I just unscrewed it, put a new one on. But then the linkage wasn't adjusted anymore properly because since it was different, it threw off that measurement. So I'm going to show how you can adjust this so you know where to adjust those screws so that you can make that linkage shorter or longer. So let's get started. I'll show how that's done in a minute here. Okay. So this video is going to be how to change out this trip lever, and after you put a new one in, how to adjust it so that the water doesn't keep draining down. So you want it to actually not leak whatsoever when it's in the up position. So I changed this faceplate and it was leaking on me, even though I didn't touch anything except just change the plate. But since it's a little different, it threw off that dimension. So I'll show you what I mean. So take these bolts out. And this plate wore out, so it wasn't staying in the up position. It would just kind of flop down when the water would, so it wouldn't hold the up position because it wore out. So the spring wears out, and it was just cheaper to buy a new trip lever plate here. So I had to actually drill this hole a little larger to allow it to hook on here. But this video is going to be how to adjust this here. So that brass tube right there has to go right in the middle of the where the drain goes. So it's going to be this will block the water. Let me show how that goes. So when the water goes down through the tub, the shoe, it's called, it will hit right here and stop and hold, the water will hold. And then when the water, if it's too high, it'll go up through that little face plate and it'll be able to still drain down because there's a hole in here. But if this isn't at the right level, if it's too high or too low, it won't block the pipe, so it won't hold the water. So this has to be exactly where it needs to be. So an easy way to get this to work, how I adjusted it, well, first I had to loosen up these nuts on each side. And when this is in here, what you can do is fill the tub up so it holds water, and then you're going to hold it like this. You're going to keep the lever up, and then you need to decide, does it need to go up or down, that these threads. So do you want to thread this higher or lower? So that's basically the question. So the way to do it, since we can't see in here, is you hold it like this, right where those bolts go through, fill it up, and then you can either pull up, and if it stops the water, then you know you have to raise it up. Or if you push down, and then it stops it, you know you have to lower it. So you can go like up and down like this until it stops, and then that'll tell you whether you need to go up or down. So I needed to go up, so I had to adjust it that way. So let's just show you what I mean. So I'm just filling it so it holds. And you can see, we're going to wait for that water to stop dripping so we can hear what's going on. So you can hear it's working. I'm going up, it's draining down, so it's not holding. So if I lower it down, that tells me I have to go lower. So see, up, it's draining, and down. So you do that to determine if you have to go up or down. So I had it exactly where it needed to be, and then it was dripping, just like this. So I needed to, so then I pushed down, it told me that that linkage needs to go down further. So now that I got it where I need it, I tighten those nuts accordingly, because you want it to snug up against this plastic piece. So I have to make sure that these two nuts are tightened down. So it's adjusted where it needs to be, then I have to tighten these. So I'll do that right now. And I just have 2 wrenches for that. So I can do it by hand to a certain extent, and then I'll just tighten it. I don't want to go too tight. Okay, it's nice and tight. I just tightened it up with this. And again, I had to actually drill out that hole so that this hook fit through. So I just used a little bigger bit than that hole, and then was able to get that to hook right in there nice. But this doesn't have that spring, an actual spring. It has more of a, this piece of metal acts as a kind of a spring, but it's kind of got some tension. It's loaded, basically. So it's acting as a spring, but the other one had an actual spring. I could have stretched it out to give it more of a, so it had more strength, but I just decided to get a new one for a couple of dollars. Just drill it, hooked it on, adjusted the linkage. It came with some new screws, actually new bolts. And these are Phillips. The old ones were regular, but that doesn't matter. So again, this has to be in the right exact spot. You can just play around with it up and down like I showed. Don't put the bolts in when you do that. So you want to be able to go up and down. When it stops, that'll tell you need to go up or down. So that's basically how you do it, because you can't see in the wall or in the pipe. So that's how you do it. So I hope that helped. And another thing is, this is the area where you would snake out the drain. If it's clogged, you go through here with the snake. You don't go down through there. Unless you take the cover off, if there's some hair, fine, you can do that. But to actually put the snake in, or an auger, you go in right through here. So let's get this back in. If it's all scaled up or dirty, you can clean that. This is pretty smooth and clean. Put that back in there. And get this to kind of go in here. Get that to just hook around here. A little hard with one hand, so let me get that. It looks like it's got to go about there. Okay, so now it's hooked in there freely. Drop it in and hold it like that and get these bolts in. Here we go. So again, make sure you get it like this and go up or down, and that's going to get it exactly where you need it. And you just loosen those nuts and adjust it a few times until you get it right. Okay, so just get these tightened up. Took about 20 turns just to get it to loosen up. It's on each side. I'm just going to go lightly here, and then I'm going to hold it exactly where it goes, then tighten it. It's kind of snug there. Get it right where I want it. Tighten it up. Okay,